All right, this is AP, and we're kind of in the middle of something, but I'll follow up with another video to explain this. So we're talking about the iambic pentameter on the second side of this sheet. Each of those boxes represents a, so if you don't want to use this, you don't have to, but you still have to have 10 syllables per line. So that's why I think this is a useful tool, this sheet. The other thing that we didn't mention in the first, this is helpful. Another way to think about your sonnet is in terms of a question and an answer. Remember this? Problem, solution, topic, response, issue, answer, however you want to think of it. But think of the first part of your poem as creating or articulating a problem, and the second, a solution. That's just another way to think about what you're going to write about. Look at number 3. The last 2 lines, that heroic couplet, resolves the problem, answers the question, responds to the issue. Number 4, follow the pattern for stressed and unstressed syllables shown along the top of the grid. This is the part you're going to have trouble with. I've never successfully taken a Rubik's Cube and even gotten one side. I know there's some tricks. I've never looked it up. I get frustrated before I even get that far. You know how you twist it 2 different ways? You're twisting it this way, but you got to twist it this way. Some of you know how the trick, and you can get all the yellows and then all the reds. I've never gotten any side the same color. Well, I kind of compared a sonnet to that, because you're doing things vertically and horizontally at the same time. Horizontally, you're worried about the 10 syllables and making some sense. Vertically, you're worried about the last word in each line has to rhyme with another word. So it's 2 ways. You have to think of 2 things. And if you're good at math, I bet most of you are. This is to me like a mathematical thing, you know, or an engineering thing. You're kind of engineering this poem. But those are the 2 things you have to be concerned about. And so you have to follow every other syllable. All right, is accent. And finally, follow the pattern for end rhymes and so forth. So if I were you, and I had never heard this, you lost me when you said write a sonnet, okay? You're going to have to go back and look at this and see if it makes sense to you. But what I'd like to do now is look at these poems on the back of the front page. There are 3 of them. These are written by students. They weren't my students. They were students of Mrs. Brown. And I think my favorite is the first one. It's the simplest one, and it illustrates everything I just talked about. If Ellen Thornton could do it, you can do it. I don't think Ellen Thornton's smarter than you are. You're smart. You could go toe-to-toe with Ellen Thornton. Don't let me down. She's good, but she's not as good as you are. Julia, do you mind reading it? The note. It's just simple. You know, I even think this doesn't even. The subject matter is pretty simple and pretty, maybe even childish. I don't care. I will mention something about the topic later. But would you mind reading that?
No reindeer's footsteps will I hear tonight. No playful sleigh will on my rooftop pause. No cookies must I leave for his delight, for I have found there is no Santa Claus. No money's jingle will I hear tonight, although my tooth beneath my pillow be, for to buy my treasure will come no sprite. For I have found there is no tooth fairy, no hippity hop will I hear tonight. No more Easter tales will my eyes see. No magic eggs, corn morn will be in sight. For I know there is no Easter bunny. Now I can see how my childhood was spent in dreaming and disillusionment.
So the last 2 lines are kind of a zinger. You know, it seems pretty childish until you get there, and she puts in perspective kind of a cynical look, but it's, you know, that she was just writing an assignment. First of all, take your pencil and mark the rhyme scheme. Just however you want to do it, let's see if she came close to the A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. So look at the last word of each line. All right, everybody have something? Does yours kind of look like this? A, B, A, B, A, C, A, C, right? Tonight, delight, tonight, sprite. Then A, C, and D, D, something like that? Because she uses that "ite" sound. Tonight, delight, tonight, sprite, tonight, sight. That's not exactly what her teacher asked her to do, but I would give credit for this because it approximates that A, B, C, D, C. What she did was she kept the same rhyme scheme. She kept the same rhymes throughout the poem. I would definitely give you credit for if that was what you came up with because, I mean, it's really good. I see 3 images here. Somebody tell me, and they're divided into 3 quatrains. What's the first quatrain's image? Ty, what's the image in the first quatrain? First 4 lines.
Like the reindeer landing on the roof.
All right. Santa Claus, you know, the whole idea of all the Santa Claus things. John Ramos, what's in the second quatrain? The tooth fairy. What's the third image? Kali, what'd you see in that third image? Or third quadrant? What? Right. So, what do they have in common? Remember we said they should be 3 different. That's Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, and Easter Bunny. The 3 different ones, but what do they have in common? Yeah.
They're all like the main, I guess you could say characters of holidays.
Yeah, I mean, they're ideas you believed in when you were a child, that they were real, and so they all have that in common. They're unified, but they're different. Everybody see that? And the rhyme scheme, we acknowledged, and notice it's got that heroic couplet at the end. Did you notice anything else there that could fit? We don't have to cover everything. I'm going to do that with you later. Let's look at the next poem. Olivia, would you read that? This is the subject matter is a little more sophisticated, but I believe you're still going to find 3 images in it. So do you mind reading it for us?
Yes. Provide green leaves of earth to man the light, and water and replenishing soft rain. When present in its fruits do we delight, yet absence renders the greatest plants slain. A butterfly does flutter joyously, bursting the strong spun bonds of the cocoon. Woe by that one warm worm's acidity, not before a slumber of several moons. The human beings must have the air to breathe, included with which to build their structure strong. They must wear coats heavy that they shall weave, and find a shelter for to hide from wrong. Thereby, best friend, you I require for life, to share emotions and help me through my strife.
All right, so thank you. Would you mark the rhyme scheme? Does it look somewhat like the A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G? Yeah, that's kind of what she did, so credit for that. I see 3 images. Claire Nettles, give me one, the first image. Again, it's usually divided by quatrains. The first 4 lines, there's probably one there, there's probably one in the second 4 lines, and so forth.
Is it nature? In the first one?
Can you be a little more specific?
Green leaves.
All right, yeah, right, basically it's the leaves. What about the leaves? What does it say about the leaves?
They're green.
How did they get that way?
From the light,
And,
the water.
right, it's essential, right? Okay, let me look at that second one. Caroline, what did you notice about the image in the second 4 lines, the second quatrain?
It's about when a butterfly comes out of its cocoon. And the image, or the contrasting image of what it looked like before, to what it looks like now.
And what is it that helped create that, according to what is it that butterfly needed to become a butterfly?
It's like,
Yeah, and cocoon, all right? How about the third stanza? Maddie, what did you,
It's like just human beings and how they live.
and what is it, you see the pattern, what is it that human beings, according to the poem, require to live?
Like a structure and form.
And what else? In order for the body to have strong structure, what do they need? And, is it mentioned? Yeah, yeah, food and air. All right, so what do all these things have in common? Daniel, at the last 2 lines, sort of punch it for us.
That,
Yeah, go ahead.
well, the last 2 lines, I guess he's talking to, saying that, he's telling his friend that, like, in life, all you really need is food and air.
Well, to live, but what does he say in the last 2 lines?
Oh, to share emotions and helping through my poems.
Who?
The author.
Yeah, what does the author need?
For his best friends to, like, share his emotions.
So do you see the connection? The plant needed water and light. The butterfly needs a cocoon and sleep. A human being's body needs air and food. But who I need? I need you. Just like, you see, that's really clever, isn't it? Like he's making these comparisons between what these things need to live, but I can't exist without you. Guys, in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, you got, in fact, is it a Friday, Valentine's Day? If you could come up with something like that to give your sweetheart, you would be the hero of the world to that person. I mean, wouldn't you ladies, wouldn't you love for somebody to care enough to come up with something that clever? It's corny, but who cares? It's clever. It's as good as any Hallmark card I've ever seen. All right, so the last one, we'll finish with this one. You see the pattern. This is the pattern as you put this together, and we'll spend a little time tomorrow on it. In fact, you can get started. Now, tomorrow we have 25 minutes, but we can still use it for this. Remember, we're going to do Huck Finn on Thursday. So it may be Friday before we actually get to the point where, okay, you're on your own. So let's look at this last one. Yeah.
Do we have to have a title for this sonnet?
None of these do. Yeah, I cheated when I wrote mine. I just, like Emily Dickens, I just used the first line. It's my title. If you do that, if you want to add another dimension, come up with another title, because the title is like a 15th line, right? It's actually a part. It can reveal things that, like the twain. What's the convergence of the twain? That added a dimension to the poem. So yeah, you could do it that way, but you need some sort of title. So we need somebody to read this last one. Noah, would you read it?
My daughter
across the meadow wide in a frenzy running round and round. He barks at me to come back nearer to him. I obey and trot to him, then snaps around my collar, he snaps around my neck, my collar split, and leads me down the road to home again. In our relationship, there's never a qualm. In fact, he treats me almost like a dog.
Again, if you appreciate the poem, it's fairly clever. It's not exactly organized the way the others are, but it is organized, so take a look at it. Look at the first rhyme scheme. Notice what I've avoided is the rhythm. I should have done that first, but do the rhyme scheme. That's easy. Everybody can figure out the rhyme scheme. You know what to expect. You expect A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, G, G. That's what pretty much you get. The word again and then is more slant rhyme. It doesn't rhyme exactly, but it's so clever. I don't care. That poem makes up for a lot of that. All right, what are the three images? And of course, as part of that, you have to figure out what it means. So give us, again, take them by quatrains. What is the image of the first four lines?
Like,
What specifically are they doing? Okay, you say they, who's throwing the ball? Of course, that's not possible. The dog doesn't throw the ball to the speaker, but what is he trying to say here? Like, you ever taken your dog for your walk and you've wondered who's taking who for a walk here? You feel like your dog is taking you for the walk? That's sort of the overall idea. So there's a ball thrown in the first four lines. Danielle, look at the next four lines. What activity is going on? It's all part of the same, but what part of that activity is happening?
it's talking about like him running around to go retrieve the ball.
So he retrieves it. He has it in his mouth, I assume. The dog, I hope. How about, Olivia, the last four? I mean, the next four, or the next four lines.
Would it be like the collar?
Okay, so by this time he's back. The dog is back. He's barking. There's barking going on, and there's a collar being put on. And then, of course, the punchline, Sam, is what?
Well, when he treats him like a dog.
What?
Yeah, when it says he treats him almost like a dog.
Who treats who like a dog?
The dog treats the human.
Right.
Like a
It's
dog.
like that idea. Who's taking whom for a walk here? It's like he's leading you where he wants to go. You're not leading him. Again, three images. They're kind of one long image, but you see kind of divided into three parts. I think you can do that without a problem. It's going to require you to think in a way maybe you don't even like writing poetry. If you're not reading it, you probably don't like writing it. But don't pack up quite yet. I just want to make sure that you start thinking about this process. You're going to have to, and by the way, I haven't mentioned subject matter. Normally, a poem, a sonnet, is serious. That's not all that serious. Neither is the first one. At least at first it didn't seem serious. But usually, and it's about one thing. So you got to narrow one thing. What I'll do tomorrow, I will show you how I handle that, and I'll answer the questions. And then we've got to deal with that ugly topic of meter, because that's really very important. I'll be very generous, in that, because I know it's the hardest thing. But I don't think I had more than one person last year who really clearly understood it and could duplicate it. And again, it's not the most important thing about half the poetry written that we read doesn't have a meter. The other half does. And so you have to understand it to some degree. So be thinking about we will start writing in class. The first thing we'll do is in class, and then you'll be on your own to finish it up. So don't forget, we'll be here for 25 minutes tomorrow. I don't know what time, but somewhere in there we'll be 25 minutes. We will see you. Good job. See you later.